What was once a big hope for a new source of domestic gas, for some at least, but fracking is being put on hold in the UK because of the risk of earthquakes. The government U-turn came after a report from the Oil and Gas Authority into seismic activity at the only current active fracking site in Lancashire. It said it was not possible to predict the magnitude of possible earthquakes triggered by fracking. We'll hear from the Business Secretary, Andrea Leadsom, in a moment. But first, Simon Jack, our business editor. And not long ago, Simon, you were warning that this was the likely... there was an earlier report that was suggesting that this decision would come.
Yeah, the writing's been on the wall for this industry for some time. And you've got to remember, this was a big deal back for the last government. Shale gas, where you basically get gas by high-pressure water, cracking rocks, and then releasing that gas and cover, has revolutionised the US energy industry and probably geopolitics as well, making the US much less reliant on imports from the Middle East. And as the North Sea dwindled, fracking was going to step in, make the UK less reliant on foreign imports. Homegrown resource, you'd see prices fall, the security of supply rise, tens of billions in new investments and tens of thousands of jobs. Now, the NAO, National Audit Office report a couple of weeks ago said that none of those, or very few of those benefits, were likely to emerge. And this report says, listen, we just cannot guarantee that you're not going to get unacceptable levels of earth tremors with this technology. They had a 2.9 on the Richter scale back in July, and they promised that there was only going to be somewhere around 0.5. So that is, that's the end for that. And it looks like the government has taken that view of withdrawing support. And I think with the cries of Extinction Rebellion ringing in their ears and a sort of, an election coming and wanting to be seen as responsible with the safety and the environment, it was probably the only decision to take. However, we are going to be using gas for decades, and actually importing gas from overseas is less green than, if you like, growing your own. It's going to be a big part of our energy mix. It's 40% of our electricity generation. It powers 25 million gas boilers. So, we are left in the position that we are going to be importing more for decades to come. And, this is a major disappointment, clearly, to some of the people in the industry and the jobs it was going to produce.
Simon Jack, thank you. Well, Andrea Leadsom, Secretary of State for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy, is on the line. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's quite a change, isn't it, from the days when Boris Johnson used to refer to fracking as glorious news for humanity?
Well, I think Simon Jack's just set out really well the advantages of shale gas, homegrown gas, lower carbon. It's something we will need for the next several decades, according to the Committee on Climate Change, as we seek to decarbonise. So, yes, it is a disappointment, but we've always been clear that we will follow the science. And the Oil and Gas Authority is one of the world's best onshore and offshore oil and gas regulators. And they have said to us that we cannot be certain that shale gas can be extracted safely, and therefore we must impose this moratorium until the science changes.
Why not a ban?
Well, because, this is a huge opportunity for the United Kingdom. But as I say, we will follow the science. Of course, yes. I mean, if what we're looking to see now is the exploration that Quadrilla have carried out up at Preston New Road. There will be some reports of what the potential is from those wells. So we will have better information in the future once that data has been assessed.
We just had an earthquake of 2.9 magnitude.
Exactly. And that is the point, is we will follow the science. And it is quite clear that we can't be certain. So the science isn't accurate enough to be able to assess the fault lines. The geological studies have been shown to be inaccurate. And therefore, unless and until we can be absolutely certain, we're imposing a moratorium.
But the risks, the geological risks, the seismic risks, have been known right from the start of the development of the fracking technique, and you used to have a lot of confidence in the measures to mitigate that sort of risk. When in 2016 you said, a well inspector will be standing at the wellhead with very sophisticated equipment.
And that's absolutely right.
Well, it turned out not to be good enough, did it? didn't it?
No. The point is that we established a traffic light system, and we set out very tight regulation, the best regulation in the world,
which didn't manage to prevent an earthquake of 2.9 magnitude.
No, of course it didn't. But the point is, it did monitor it, and we took action as soon as what became apparent was that the assumptions were not sufficiently accurate. And the Oil and Gas Authority has made those recommendations, and we have acted on their report within a couple of days. So what we have done is exactly as we said, which is to put safety first. It remains a huge opportunity for the United Kingdom as we transition to a zero carbon future. But nevertheless, we have to follow the science, and we have to impose this moratorium straight away, really to give certainty to businesses and to communities of our intentions, which is that we will not consent any further shale gas exploration until and unless the science becomes more accurate, so that we're able to have greater confidence about the impact on seismic activity.
Okay, you talk about the zero carbon future. The immediate effect of all of this is that it makes us more dependent on imported gas from different parts of the world, Norway, Qatar, Russia. Where that gas is shipped in the form of liquefied natural gas, its carbon footprint is higher. So all of this in the immediate term increases our carbon footprint, the decision you've taken.
Well, that's not the case because, of course, we're not actually extracting shale gas at the moment. These were still exploratory, so this industry hasn't even begun. So the fact is that at the moment we import just over half of all of our gas needs. But there is a very liquid, big, successful international gas market, and we are able to bring in gas from multiple sites overseas, and we don't have any concerns at all about gas security in the United Kingdom.
Even from Russia?
So it's an opportunity cost. Well, we don't actually bring in much gas at all, if any, from Russia.
Well,
as I say,
there is some. In 2018, it was 3% of our imported gas.
Very small amount, but the international market is very liquid and successful, and we don't have any concerns about gas security.